Right, good morning everyone, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you all to this side event on FAO's new strategy on climate change and also announcement of an initiative for strengthening agriculture adaptation, SAGA. So just to set the scene before we kick off, now, this new strategy on climate change developed by FAO really comes at the right time now that we have a growing attention to global food security and how it is impacted increasingly by climate change. All the extreme weather events that we've been seeing, the droughts, the floods, the hurricanes all around the world, they're all affecting global food security. Before any organization, any country to respond to this growing threat, it's important to have a clear vision and a clear strategy of how we're going to respond to this crisis, how we're going to respond at different levels, at the global level, at the regional country level, and more importantly, at the local level, including in supporting farmers and local communities. And this is what the new strategy on climate change is about. So we will have this event in really two main parts. The first part is about the strategy. What is the strategy about? What we're trying to achieve? What are the principles? And the second part will be about a practical example of how we implement the strategy, and we look specifically at the strengthening of agricultural adaptation. And as you know, adaptation at this COP is also given high priority, and adaptation is very much relevant to agriculture and global food security. So without much ado, it gives me great pleasure to invite our FAO's Deputy Director General, Maria Helena Semedo, who will give her opening remarks.
Thank you, Zitouni, and good morning to all. Excellency Minister Benoit Charette, Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Wildlife and Parks of Quebec, Minister of Environment and Sustainable Development of Senegal, Alioune Do, dear Mrs. Gertie Pierre, Directrice de Direction des Changements Climatiques, Ministère de l'Environnement de Haïti, dear friends, colleagues from JEF, youth, and different partners and stakeholders of FAO. Let me start by saying why we need a strategy. Zitouni set the scene, but we are here. We have been here the first week in the COP talking about the transformation of our agri-food system. It's the first time in a COP where we have 6 or 7 pavilions on food system. We talk about the need to transform our food system, linking the climate agenda to the food and agriculture agenda. And this is why. Because we said that our food systems are broken. The way we produce is no longer sustainable. The way we transform what we produce, the way we are consuming, we are not having a healthy diet. We are wasting 30% of the food we produce, and when we waste food, we waste all the inputs we provide, land, water, fertilizer, when we prepare the food. And this is what we need to change. And this is what it has been said here, that we need a new narrative. We need actions. We need to work on the field. We need to work with the smallholder farmers. It's not only to have a nice dialogues here, and what is more important, we know what to do. We have solutions, we have tools. What is lacking? Determination to do, the financial resources, and science, innovation, and technology. But when I say science, innovation, technology, it's also local science, local technology. Not we need all the up-to-date technology, because the local technology, they are also solutions to the climate change. And we have science. And the last report of IPCC told us that more than 3.3 billion people, this is half of the world's population, are considered highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate crisis. And we are talking particularly in Africa, Asia, and small island development states. Look what is happening in the Horn of Africa. They are having the 5th year of consecutive droughts. The implication on lives and livelihoods of thousands, millions of people. And we have 500 million smallholder farmers that they rely on functioning and healthy ecosystem to produce over 80% of the food they consume in a large part of developing countries. They produce the food we consume, but they are food insecure and they are vulnerable to the effects of climate change. They are not resilient, and every time you have a drought, you have a flood, they are in a very difficult and vulnerable situation. Further, heat stress will distribute the psychology of both plants and animals, potentially resulting in yield losses, reduced product quality, and increased food loss and waste. That is what I was saying. It's not only about plant, we talk about crops, but also the animals. And the plant and animal diseases, they are coming with the climate change. And this is why our agri-food systems are vulnerable. We don't have early warning systems. We cannot avoid a disaster, a drought of a flood, but we can prevent. If you have early warning systems, we can be better prepared, and our farmers, they will be less vulnerable. If you have information, and we do have information, how we spread and we change those information, how we help the countries, the farmers to be better prepared. And this is why we said that agri-food system, even though they contribute to 1/3 of greenhouse gas emission, they are part of the solution. The solution is not only transportation or energy. Agri-food system, they are part, they can contribute, and we know, as I said, what to do. And this is the reason why we need to work with our members, we need to work with our stakeholders, we need to work with our financial institutions. I am very happy to have our friend from Jeff here, Global Environment Facility, to tell us what we are doing. We have solutions from all around the world. And FAO can provide this platform to share best practices, to bring innovative solutions. And this is the reason why we prepare our FAO strategy on climate change. The strategy, as it has been said, will work at all levels, global, regional, and country level. Will improve the financial for climate, how to support the access to financial for climate, and also bring innovative solutions. And it will pairing with our climate and innovation strategy. The climate and innovation, the climate strategy and the science and innovation strategies in FAO, they are twin strategies because they bring solutions to climate change, and climate change also can bring some solutions to our innovation strategy. Thank you again for being here. Please join us in implementing the strategy. It's not an FAO strategy, it's our strategy, how to help the countries, the farmers, to be less vulnerable to the effects of climate change and have more resilience and more sustainable agri-food systems. Thank you again. Over to you, Zitouni.
Thank you very much, Maria Elena Semedo, for setting the scene and for highlighting the commitment of FAO to this strategy and the fact that it's a strategy for everyone to be involved in making a new narrative, more action on the ground, and to help farmers to be better prepared to cope with this crisis. And you mentioned also the solutions that exist and collaborations. So this brings me nicely to inviting the next speaker, Madame Gertie-Pierre, who's a director of climate change at the Ministry of Environment of Haiti.
Good morning, everyone. As our minister can't be here today, so I will take on behalf of him about what the Project Saga do in Haiti for us. So, as you know, Haïti est situé au cœur des Caraïbes, sur les passages des cyclones et des ouragans. Haïti fait partie des pays les plus vulnérables au changement climatique.
Done. Okay. So I will translate on the fly. So as you know, Haiti is on the road of the typhoon, cyclone, and is one of the most vulnerable countries in the Caribbean island.
86 des Haïtiens sont exposés au choc climatique. Le pays est touché par des sécheresses récurrentes et par la répartition irrégulière des pluies, dont les répercussions s'ajoutent aux effets des 2 tremblements de terre qui viennent de se passer dans le pays.
So Haiti has been hit by typhoon, but also by drought, and is also this is on top of the 2 earthquakes that already affected the country.
La vulnérabilité du pays est exacerbée par la forte dégradation de l'environnement et la faible capacité de la réaction du pays face aux catastrophes naturelles et des obstacles majeurs qui mettent en péril le développement du pays.
So now I'm trying to shorten because I'm not a translator. Haiti, all that have been said before, is even more affected on top of that with the fragility of the natural resources. That is also gearing up all the effect provided by climate.
L'agriculture est notamment un secteur économique en Haïti, c'est-à-dire ça représente plus de 29% de la population en 2019 et la superficie que représente l'agriculture en Haïti est de 76%. C'est-à-dire 45% des produits alimentaires que consomme Haïti viennent de l'agriculture.
So agriculture is 9%. 9% of the population, 75% of the land area, and 45% of what is consumed in Haiti is from Haiti.
C'est pour vous dire, soutenir la productivité et la résilience du secteur agricole en Haïti ou au niveau local et des petites exploitations peut contribuer à répondre aux besoins de tous les Haïtiens pour améliorer leurs moyens d'existence.
So the resilience of the sector is key to ensure the sovereignty, food sovereignty of the country for the smallholders and the poorest, that are the most vulnerable.
Pour cela, Haïti a déployé des moyens, notamment l'élaboration du plan national d'adaptation en Haïti, où le secteur agricole a été l'un des secteurs prioritaires pour servir le pays. Et nous pensons que en prendre en compte l'agriculture au niveau de l'adaptation, ça peut également aider au développement socio-économique du pays.
So Haiti developed this national adaptation plan with a focus on a priority on agriculture, so this can support the sustainable development of all the sectors.
On n'a pas seulement l'agriculture, il y a également les ressources, la gestion intégrée des ressources en eau et les infrastructures et zones côtières. On a encore notamment la sécurité alimentaire qui fait défaut en Haïti. Et puis l'éducation, la sensibilisation sont les priorités absolues du pays.
So water resources on coastal areas are also key for that small island, and also such priorities such as education, training, and capacity building.
Donc voilà pourquoi on a intégré à travers de notre CDN tous ces ressources que nous pensons qui prendront vraiment en compte la situation du pays, la position du pays en matière de lutte contre les changements climatiques.
So all those aspects are included in the nationally determined contribution to ensure adequate response to climate change.
Now I will take in English, talking about the SAGA project. The SAGA project was very important for Haiti because we make some development about. We inform and some workshop with some agriculture in Haiti about the SAGA project, and then the minister also think that's very good to have a prolongation with that project, so that can help, and then with the permanency of the project in Haiti. So I think we already talking about what the project SAGA make, because it's really aligned with the CDN. And then when we look at the NAP also, it's like the same thing. So we need to have some project in agriculture, because agriculture is very important for us, because we have a 70% of our land in agriculture. And then we hope that FAO, with all of our partners that we have, and with that project can help us to have a second of that project, like talk SAGA. Like we know Haiti, it's very important for us right now about the situation socio-economic in Haiti. So thank you for inviting us, and then we hope this cooperation can be as long as we know we can to help in the development of Haiti. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madame Gerti, and we very much look forward to continue this collaboration with you and with other, including the government of Senegal. So it gives me great pleasure to invite Bada Draoui, who's Director of Environment of Senegal, who will be giving his perspective on this collaboration and the relevance to the strategy as well. Mr. Baba, you have the floor. That's a very good one.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Directrice Générale Adjointe, Mesdames et Messieurs les participants. Je voudrais tout d'abord vous présenter les excuses de Monsieur. I don't know if there is translation, because I would like to speak in French. So okay? No translation. So I will try to make my speech in English. It will not be very easy, but we will try. So I would like to thank the FAO for inviting Senegal to this very important side event on the strategy on climate change of the FAO. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the FAO for all the work they are doing in Senegal in order to help to cope with negative impact of climate change on the agriculture system. Because as you may know, Senegal is an LDC. Our economy rely on agriculture, and agriculture is very, very sensitive on the climate impacts. It's why in our NDC, we consider that it is very important to mobilize partners in order to see whether we can adapt the agriculture sector on the negative impact on climate change. What we would like to know is that the SAGA project, which is helping us in order to develop a strategy, an adaptation strategy on the agriculture system, works very well. We have a very good collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, because the Minister of Environment is coordinating the environmental policy, the climate change policy, but the implementation is under the responsibility of the Minister of Agriculture. And we work very well together in order to develop and to help local community to cope with negative impact on climate change. And what we hope is to reinforce this collaboration in order to help local community, in order to ensure that the agriculture system of our country will adapt very well to the climate negative impact. I would like to thank you very well. We don't prepare our speech in English, and we think that the collaboration will go further, and Senegal and FAO will show leadership on how we can support local community in order to cope to negative impact of climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baba, for sharing with us your perspective, and we look forward to continue to working with Senegal as well on this initiative, and also on implementing the strategy. Before we move on to the panel to have just a brief discussion on the implementation, let's just watch a 2-minute video about the strategy to sum up what it's about and what it's trying to achieve. Okay, well, I hope that at least you enjoyed the music and the picture, because some of the text was at the bottom. Apologies for that. So thank you. Let me now invite the panelists to come and have a brief discussion about the implementation of the strategy. So I'd like to call Katie Milne, who's the Vice President of the World Farmers Organization, and Jenna Tedal, who's the Director of Young Professionals for Agricultural Development Network, and Chizuru Ayuki, who's the Lead Environmental Specialist at the Global Environment Facility. So thank you all for joining the panel. Just a brief discussion on the strategy, the implementation, particularly from your perspective. And I'll start with you from the Jeff perspective in particular, Ms. Ayuki. If you could please share with us your perspective. I'll share with you the mic. If you could please share with us your perspective on how climate finance can better support agri-food systems in making them an important part of the solution to the climate crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's amazing we're looking at a full house here. And Zituni and the FAO colleagues for inviting the Jeff to be here. Look, there is no question when you are talking about climate finance as well as priorities of the countries, agriculture comes at the top. Whenever you ask countries, what are your priorities and what are your concerns to be addressed through support, for instance, with an agency like the GEF? Let me just give you a couple of perspectives. The active portfolio the GEF has at this point, you know, we've been in operation for 20 years or so. If you look at the active portfolio, 36% of the portfolio of least developed countries funds, for instance, for adaptation, is on agriculture, followed by natural resource management, climate information services, so on and so forth. So the countries, in our opinion, are already coming to the climate finance channels to address their adaptation and agriculture priorities. And so at this point, what we have done is to really embrace that. And just like the FAO has a very nice strategy, and I really like that there is what I could see at the bottom about the having a more holistic approach to look into land-based actions, biodiversity, ecosystems as a comprehensive solution to address agriculture. We have done something a bit similar on the Jeff Trust Fund side, where we are offering food securities integrated programs that would cut across climate mitigation, biodiversity, and land organization actions. On the side of climate change adaptation strategy, very well aligned with what FAO has put over here. We're putting agriculture as one of the 4 priority themes, followed by water, early warning systems and climate information systems, and nature-based solutions. And I would argue all of these things are, at the end of the day, menu of options that the countries can utilize to address their priorities for agriculture as well as issues related to climate smart agriculture. And I already heard from the intervention by the Haitian representative as well as Senegal, clear in their national strategies, NDCs or adaptation communication or NAPs, they are capturing these elements of importance of agriculture. So we really would like to be in partnership with the countries and other institutions, FAO, to move forward on this particular issue. Since this is an FAO event, I just wanted to also highlight the importance of the Jeff's partnership with our agencies, including FAO. We are operating with 18 agencies. And as of now, in the adaptation sphere, we work closely with 12 agencies. FAO is one of them. Traditionally, the FAO has done about 14% of programming from the adaptation. In the last 4 years, we've seen a dramatic jump in the FAO programming. At this point, we're looking about 25% of the entire adaptation portfolio with the FAO. So we consider the FAO to be a very, very important partner on this particular area of food security, adaptation, as well as issues related to climate and agriculture. And we really hope that we can continue to work with you because countries are asking for the FAO engagement in this particular area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing that perspective with us and also the importance really given to food security and how FAO's portfolio is really responding to that in partnership with the GEF. And that's really encouraging to see the attention at this COP in particular given to the global food security. And I have to say, you know, we're really very proud of our partnership with GEF. The experience is fantastic. Your food systems integrated program portfolio, as you said, is very much aligned with our mission, with our strategy, and we very much look forward to doing more with the GEF together and for the countries. So thank you very much for that. Obviously, the strategy, particularly the third pillar, is really to work with farmers, with local communities, and zoom in into that local space. And I'm very pleased that we have Katie with us, who is the Vice President of the World Farmers Organization. And Katie, if you could please share with us your perspective, particularly on the opportunities that this strategy and the work of the World Farmers Organization would bring to farmers in particular. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to speak on the panel. As you know, well, you may not know, World Farming Organization represents 53 countries. Not all the farmers in the world, but most of the farmers in the world, 1.2 billion plus. And it is very exciting for us to see the new focus brought to life because it is going to make a massive difference to our farmers on the ground. It is going to unlock more innovation, financing, technology that can be implemented for them, with them. And one of the keys is with that extra focus now of putting agriculture at the centre of climate change solutions, it will help our governments and our regional governors to help us. They will have a better focus on the policies that we need to enable us to go forward, which is very, very important. I have many examples of how this has made a difference to be able to unlock the technologies, and some of it is already there and is available. And you did speak about quickly and the beautiful video. A lot of people have available of technology available now. It's getting better, but it could be even better again. We have not scratched the surface yet of what agriculture can do towards climate change mitigation and sequestration, natural carbon sinks, bring in the biodiversity and really ramp us up with help is going to be incredible. It's going to change people's lives. It has to be done in the right direction, taking the farmers and everyone with us, and that means getting us around the tables to help formulate what it looks like on the ground in each community. And this push from FAO behind helping with the partners and everyone involved will give governance and regional governors that confidence to do that. And that is one of the things we need, is that they have the confidence to bring farmers into the rooms, to those tables, to help set those directions. And then they will cross-pollinate when the barriers come down. The individual ideas they have, we see it all around the world where farmers get the go-ahead to do things, and they just thrive, and they are able to talk to each other about ideas, and the young farmers get involved, and they are just so innovative. It makes a massive difference. I talked at Climate Smart Agriculture a couple of years ago, many farmers, but one particular lady comes to mind. She had availability of an app for weather, and she was able to delay planting for the season for her family by 2 weeks because there was a bad monsoon coming in Indonesia. That meant that the crop didn't fail. It was incredible. I asked her, and it was from a cell phone. She could get that access. I asked her what would be the difference if the crop did fail for you, and they have half a dozen cattle as part of their entity. She said, if the crop fails, that is when we sell the cattle. That gives me three things. It gives me seed for next season, food for the rest of this season, and education for my children. That's the difference that this sort of thing is going to bring, that opening up those boxes for more technology so that people like that can thrive even better. And we are so looking forward to partnering up and help pushing this through.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us, and the fact that there are many things that work that we have in terms of solutions, and I think this is the opportunity to really scale them up so that all the communities benefit from that, all the farmers, and that's really the ultimate objective if we want to make a difference together. Let me now zoom into the role of young people and young farmers, young entrepreneurs, and I'm pleased that we have Jenna with us here. As I said, she's the young professional for agricultural development, YPARD. And if you could, Jenna, just share with us your perspective again on the role that young people can play in this sustainable transformation of agri-food system that we are aiming for.
Absolutely. Okay, super. Thank you so much for inviting me here to be here today and to comment on this, because I think there's a lot of buzz around involving youth these days, and sometimes we are involved as maybe an afterthought or things like this, and you see a really great example from the FAO Climate Change Division and Biodiversity Division by consistently including young people, young professionals across the value chain in their strategies, because it seems like you all realize that it is about implementation and that we also have a generational renewal crisis in agriculture all around the world. It doesn't matter if you're in the so-called global north or global south. In generational renewal, we are all developing countries. And so this is something that we can really take advantage of in the implementation of this climate change strategy, because we all know things that come into our minds when we think of young people, right? We think of innovation, we think of energy, we think of young folks who are quick to adapt, and these are all really true, right? But we can also tackle some of the other challenges that we're having in agriculture by involving young people, right? We can think about rural to urban migration when we're looking at involving young people, generational renewal in agriculture, sustainable rural livelihoods. All these things we can also tackle at the same time that we're targeting climate mitigation and adaptation. So this, to me, is really a low-hanging fruit. We all know it needs to happen, and so my message is actually a call to action, right? Involve young people and young people's organizations in your implementation processes, and do it right from the start. So do it in your co-design of your programs as well, because that way you can really tackle some of the challenges that youth are facing right from the start. And of course, this goes from other colleagues as well, like farmers, small-scale producers, women, indigenous folks as well, that when we're making these programs for these folks, we can really involve them in this collaborative way that we're all talking about doing, but still struggling with really getting that missing link there. So that would be my call to action, is to involve these stakeholders in co-design and co-implementation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you to see the energy and the involvement of young people. I mean, that's essential when we look at the future of agri-food system and the transformation we want to make. Obviously, this situation is going to affect young people much more than the current generation, and it makes sense, obviously, to be involved in that. Just to say that in FAO, we've got a youth committee that we created. We also have a women's committee, and in some of the offices in FAO, there are also youth groups. So the involvement is really there, and we really appreciate the energy, the enthusiasm of young people who want to see the change happening. So thank you for that. So because we're running out of time, I just want to ask you each just one final message you want to leave the audience with, just very briefly, and then we can move on to the next panel. I'll start with you, Cusa.
Thank you. I can only agree with what's been said by the farmer representation and youth. We're talking about agriculture and climate change, but at the end of the day, we're talking about the future of livelihoods and what it means to have decent living as well as diversity in all different parts of the world. This is also related to the whole notion of security, national security, community security, food security, everything. So we all think of this as this issue from our own different perspectives, but at the end of the day, I think we do share a very important common vision that agriculture as well as food security really has to be a core of a lot of solutions to the issues that globally we're trying to address. So we want to continue to work with everybody. Partnership is important. We would love to work more closely with the youth. Thanks.
Is it on? Oh, it is. I think that we really need to unshackle agriculture. We know the direction we need to go. We're the first affected by terrible weather events, and it hurts, our smallholder farmers, our big commercial farmers, everybody, because we're seasonal. We have to deal with what's thrown at us by nature. Unlock investment, more and more investment for us, and we will create those sinks, and we will produce more from a smaller footprint, and we will keep food diversity. There is a lot of talk about maybe we have to go all plant-based and shift away from more livestock. We can't afford to do that. We need every type of food production vibrant and thriving, and it's technology and innovation and investment that will get us there. And the farmers will implement and put it through, and put it on the ground. Just unlock that, just break those chains, set us free.
Thank you so much. I'll just re-emphasize my call to action. Look for youth organizations to work with, but not only youth organizations, right? Look throughout civil society and look how you can really create your team to implement your programs, right? We really look forward to working with the partners here today who might be new, collaborative friendships, and also extending the ones that we've worked with before. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, and please give them a big round of applause. So you can take your seats, and then I'll call the next panelist to talk about the practical example of strengthening agricultural adaptation, the SAGA initiative that has been done in collaboration with the governments of Haiti, Senegal, and Quebec. And so let me invite Gertie Pierre to the platform from Haiti, and also Benoit Charette from the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change in Quebec, and Alioune Ndoué from the Ministry, well, I guess Baba is going to represent him. Okay. So please take your seats, and just a brief question to each one of you, just to share with us the perspective of your engagement in this initiative. And I think I'll start with you, Benoit.
So, bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be with all of you this morning. Quebec is pleased to say that the first phase of SAGA was a real success. We were able to testify the result, and when I see the partners involved in this project, a lot of Quebec organizations from Quebec, de CECI, SOCO, DV, le Carrefour International, UPA-DI. So all these organizations made this first phase a real and concrete success. And for these reasons, I'm really pleased to say that we will continue with the phase 2. So I'm pleased to confirm that we will put another $5 million to make sure this phase 2 is a success also, and we'll be able to testify, I guess, and I hope at the first occasion how important are these initiatives.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Pour nous autres en Haïti, c'est déjà une opportunité pour le pays à travers les petits agriculteurs au niveau local, parce que le projet Saga nous a accompagnés au niveau local, c'est-à-dire au niveau le plus bas, à accompagner les petits pêcheurs et les petits producteurs.
So it's a good opportunity for smallholder farmers and local fishers that benefits from this project.
À travers le projet Saga, on a pu avoir plus de 6 consultations, et ces consultations ont été au niveau local et à travers même de la révision de la CDN, où on a pu informer et former des agriculteurs par rapport au changement climatique.
So you had a consultation that involves also local farmers and it helped to revise the NDCs in this context.
Également, ils nous ont accompagnés dans le plan national d'adaptation au changement climatique, où l'agriculture est l'un des secteurs les plus importants de ce document stratégique du pays.
And also involved in the national adaptation plans, which is an important document for the government.
Donc voilà, c'est pourquoi il est important déjà que, comme j'ai déjà dit, mentionné que le projet Saga a fait un grand impact pour nous autres en Haïti. Donc c'est important si on pouvait vraiment avoir un autre projet, le projet 2, en Haïti, qui pour assurer la pérennité de ce qui a été déjà fait et pour avoir la continuité de ce qui a été déjà fait.
So this highlights the benefits from the first phase of the project that benefited the farmers and the countries, and you're looking forward to the second phase of Saga.
Nous remercions la FAO pour leur support toujours en Haïti, parce que c'est l'un de nos partenaires vraiment très techniques et financiers qui nous accompagne toujours. Et également Québec, le gouvernement Québec et l'université Laval qui nous a accompagnés dans ce projet. Nous vous remercions et nous attendons avec impatience déjà en Haïti le Saga 2 pour qu'on puisse vraiment continuer dans le même lancé. Merci.
Okay, we thank the FAO and Quebec, the collaboration, and looking forward to the next phase of the project. Thank you very much.
So I thank you once again for giving me the floor in order to share the experience of Senegal during the implementation of the Saga project. What I would like to give as my first step is that in our NDC, agriculture is one of the most important activities due to the vulnerability of the agriculture system, the vulnerability of local communities who depends on agriculture for the most. And it is important to note that the agriculture system in Senegal is very vulnerable due to its dependence on the rainy season, because much of the agriculture do their activities during the rainy season. And the approach of Saga is very innovative because Saga works directly with local communities and try to assist them with technical assistance in order to ensure that they will use the best practices in order to adapt to climate change. At the institutional level, the coordination is between the Ministry of Environment, as I mentioned earlier, who is responsible for the coordination of the climate change policies, but the Minister of Agriculture is the technical minister in charge of the development of the sector, and all the activities are implemented under the leadership of the Ministry of Agriculture. I would like to inform you that during the implementation of the SAGA project, we did some studies on the vulnerability of the sector, because it is very important at the beginning to know what is the main picture of the vulnerability of the sector in order to propose option to allow agriculture to adapt to climate change. And this studies gives us scientific tools, scientific information on the basis on which we develop our activities. So we count on the FAO in order to have a second phase of the SAGA project that will allow us to continue the activities we are implementing right now to ensure that local community agriculture will adapt as best as possible to negative impact of climate change. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I hope this gave you an overview of the strategy, of the collaboration with the countries, and you heard the experience from the countries. And this is work in progress. And I think what we've seen in the COP here is that there is so much expectations now on working on agriculture and the transformation of agri-food systems and working with farmers as well. So this gives us major opportunities in implementing the strategy and continuing with the SAGA 2 project and working with you know, the players across the board, as you heard from the previous panel as well. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying until the end. And please give the panel a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.